Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Big Jiu-Jitsu Show, a member of the Pod Bros Podcast Network. Don't forget to go to podbros.com and find yourself another podcast you want to listen to. And check out our sponsors, Trap and Roll Soap Company, as well as Tape Armor. This past episode, I had John Eddie and Steve Shimizu from Marianas Open, Marianas Pro, and John Eddie is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu instructor out in El Paso, Texas. Both are really knowledgeable guys, and both have really, really high goals that they want to accomplish. John is looking to start up a really big jiu-jitsu program in the military community out in El Paso, and Steve is bringing the Marianas Open and Pro to the U.S. to help get qualifiers for people to go compete in Guam for up to $25,000. It was a pretty good episode, and the reason why it's only pretty good is because we're going to try the video thing, and I said you guys are going to be guinea pigs, and unfortunately it didn't work out too well. But that's okay, but the interview is really awesome. They had a lot of really good insight, and we got to learn a lot about the Marianas Open and some stuff that nobody else is going to tell you right now. So I guess we got a little bit of an exclusive. Don't forget to go to bjjshow.com, buy yourself a t-shirt, patch. The new Jiu-Jitsu shirt is in. And don't forget to listen to some of our old episodes on iTunes, rate and review us, subscribe, and tell your friends about us too. And I will talk to you guys after the episode. Alright, so just to make sure, John Eddie and Steve Shimizu.
Yep.
Just making sure I don't want to be that guy who butchers people's names.
Jiu-Jitsu podcast fans and followers. John Moser, brown belt from Purebred Jiu-Jitsu, under Steve Roberto, and lifelong ambassador of the martial art of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And I'm here with a very lifelong friend, Steve Shimizu.
Founder of Marianas Open, purebred student under Steve Roberto.
Nice. Well, you know, this is a first for Big Jiu-Jitsu, first off. One, we're doing a video recording, so we're going to be posting it up to our YouTube channel here very shortly. It's going to be on Thursday. This will be put up. So you guys are not just the guinea pigs, but, you know, I got some high-quality jiu-jitsu, not just practitioners, but kind of innovators, I think. They're going to be on the podcast doing this. And at the end, you're going to be throwing them too, aren't you?
Absolutely. At the end, we're going to be what?
Doing a throw, right?
Oh, that's going to be for my website. Yeah, Kirk's going to feature a throw, but you want him to do it on your podcast? We can. I'll volunteer myself. I can have Kirk throw me across my garage here, you know, and the fans would love it, you know.
hey, it's whatever you want to do. I just appreciate you guys coming on today, and I know it's been man. First of all, Steve, you had a heck of a flight coming in, didn't you?
Oh God, long journey, man. Long journey.
Guam is literally like on the other side of the planet, you know, and so it was like at least 18 hours of flight time.
Yeah, just about.
Wow.
Not including like layovers, not including, you know, your other connecting.
Yeah.
That's pretty, you know, like, and then coming in on doing a podcast. I appreciate you, like you said, or like I said earlier, taking the time out of your busy schedule to come on the show and do this. So, Steve, I know that you're the founder of the Marianas Open and the Marianas the Pro, and I know that you have some plans that are going on with that. So, could you give us a little background on the Marianas Open and Pro for our listeners if they're not familiar with it?
Yeah. Okay. Well, the Marianas Open started in Guam, and we basically started as a really small tournament with about 30 competitors. But what we needed was Guam. A lot of the Guam athletes, they love competing. You know, we're known as Fight Rock. Excuse me. And basically, we started competing off island, doing some tournaments as a team. Different jiu-jitsu organization too in Guam, where different gyms were competing. But we needed something where competitors that couldn't afford to go off island compete on Guam. So we started the Marianas Open, and you know, it was just going to be done for fun, in-house, just a little bit of jiu-jitsu on the island. But I noticed it growing, and people wanted the same atmosphere as you would at the Worlds, at at the Asian Open, treat it as if it was a professional tournament. So, I didn't sell the tournament short. I just evolved from there. We started to set the standard high. And, at first it was hard for our local competitors to get used to it, but they finally did. And, they can only go so much as competing against each other. So I decided, you know what? Instead of Guam coming to the world, why not the world come to Guam? So we decided, hey, we're going to invite these top level athletes and see if they can, if any of our black belts can give them a run for their money. It wasn't even about beating them; it was about the experience of competing against,
Exposure.
yeah, getting the exposure it
Not a lot of
deserves.
people know about Guam, the hidden paradise.
Yeah, so by these guys, like we started off with Mike Fowler, Keenan Cornelius, Lucas Leish, bringing these guys in, it turned heads in the mainland. And so I decided the first tournament that grew big was bring Keenan out. And I got a phone call from Budo Videos at first. They wanna film it, and they did. It caught, people around the world caught wind of it, and then next year we decided, hey, let's bring Felipe Pena out and let's see if we can draw some attention, because the goal was to get these high level athletes to compete on the island, and we did that. Flow Grappling came in, covered the whole entire tournament, and from there on out, we expanded. And I get phone calls from all these black belts from all over the world. Hey, how can we get to Guam? And with the island, and John here can attest to that, is that our island is very giving. We wear our hearts on our sleeves. We are very welcoming, and that's what draws the attention. Besides the paradise, coconut trees, beaches, and all that, right? But anyway, we drew the attention of world-renowned athletes as Jiu-Jitsu in Paradise. They always want to come back, and now that we have a real big following, we decided, hey, you know what? In order for this to work, I cannot just handpick one. They need to fight for it. We need a qualifier, and by doing so, we decided that we were going to bring it to California at first, but we decided to move it to El Paso for different types of reasons. So we are going to hold the Marianas Pro Trial in El Paso, and that gives the opportunity of a black belt and a brown belt to win the chance to fight on Guam and compete, possibly win a total purse of $25K, which that's what I'm putting up. So if they compete in the El Paso one, Marianas Pro El Paso, and I get a winner out of that, I get a champion, they will have an all expense paid to come to Paradise and compete in our island and possibly win huge money prizes.
$25,000. I just make sure I heard that right. 1,000, right?
25K.
Wow, that is a hell of a prize.
Yeah. So
US.
That is awesome. I mean, that is incentive enough right there, if you ask me. So now you have a trial. It's going to be in El Paso. What's the timeline look like then? When can we start looking at more announcements of when it's going to be, where it'll be? Well, obviously El Paso, but like the venue, I mean.
Yeah. Well, we're going to get that all done by today. We're hoping that I can come up with exactly where, when, but tentatively we're looking at February. And reason why is because I need winners out of here. I need guys to compete, and I need the winners so that we can fly them out to Guam and set them up for, for the tournament. Right now, the reigning champion of the Marianas Open is Felipe Pena, but we have Division 1 and 2. So Division 1, we need a champion, and Division 2, we need another champion. At the end, they may be facing Felipe.
Wow. So what are the differences? I might have missed it. What are the differences between Division 1 and Division 2 then?
Division one is 180 pounds and below, and it's basically like an absolute, but a smaller one. So 180 pounds and below gives the athlete to a chance to, regardless if he's lighter, it's not a brutal weight from 150 to 210.
Yeah.
It's still has a chance, and he's going to walk away if he wins his division. He walks away with some serious money. But he still has the chance to win even more. If he meets up with the Division Two winner, which is 181 and above. It caps out at 220 max. So that's who we'll face at the end. It seems unfair, but this is what the sport's about. It's about the small guy taking out the bigger guy. Hence, the history of how jiu-jitsu started with the UFC, Royce Gracie coming in there and proving that, the gentle art is the way to go to take out the big guy. I mean, everyone's doing it now.
Yeah.
So basically, this is what we came up with, and it's worked, and we're going to try and get a winner out of it from El Paso, at least two. And we also now added the brown belt division, which is an absolute as well. And they have a chance to fly out and win. So, man, there's big things coming. I don't want to kind of tell everything, right? I want it to be kind of a surprise, but you'll be hearing more for sure.
Yeah, I definitely don't want everything blown, so that we can getting more surprises as things go on. It definitely builds the hype for it, and this is already a pretty exciting thing to think about. There you have your Abu Dhabis and whatnot, but Abu Dhabi isn't in Guam, and that's one of those places I really want to visit one day. So
Abu Dhabi's in Guam.
Yeah, it's not, man. It's jiu-jitsu in paradise, and you gotta change the pace. You gotta change the view, and sometimes you just gotta get away.
Yep.
And to have that pace of saying, hey, you know what, man, jiu-jitsu can take me around the world. Well, hence Guam. Who would have ever known, right? So everyone said, oh yeah, I'm gonna go to the Abu Dhabi and compete, but now it's wow, I'm gonna go to Guam and compete, out there. So you have a different type of view. You have people train for Japan, train for different types, and we just offer ourselves as paradise, jiu-jitsu in paradise, and people want to come and see what we're about. This is the way to do it.
I was to say, not only is it known as Jiu-Jitsu in Paradise, a lot of the people I've talked to have said that Guam is one of the best places to do Jiu-Jitsu, not just for getting to hang out on the beach and have just wonderful views, but you guys are tough too. So it is definitely the best of both worlds. And like I said, it has been on one of my bucket list things to go to Guam and get out there and roll around and get my ass kicked a few times. So that's
no, man. It's all about sharing, man. All about sharing.
Hey, boss, Rob, you're in the military, correct?
Yes, I'm in the military.
Are you what branch service?
Army.
My man. So where are you where's your ACAPing? Where are you coming back from Germany? Are you going back to family anywhere?
It's probably going to be North Carolina, probably Northern Virginia. It's a toss-up right now, but that's March of 2019.
Oh, sweet. So you're going to be on the East Coast. We have a sister gym affiliation, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu United in Pennsylvania, in Jenkinstown, Philadelphia. So that's not too far from you, actually, man. So whenever you get back, go pay them a visit, and you kind of understand our organization entity. Jared Weiner, Professor Jared. He's one of our mentors. He's our mentor's mentor. So
actually, Professor Jared too competed in the Marianas Open, all the way from Philly. I mean, that's how far people travel to Guam. I mean, it's far. Just coming here to El Paso, now I know the feeling. I'm like, whoa, this is what you guys all going through. I was like, man, it was insane.
Yeah, but good places sometimes they're not close, and that's okay. You gotta get outside your comfort zone, right?
Yep.
Have you ever come to Fort Bliss for anything? CRC for Primo? come pay me a visit. I'll be starting my MWR program for purebred jiu-jitsu. Support us. Follow me on my website. Purebredbjjep.com. So yeah, man, if you're ever in town, come pay me a visit. You're more than welcome. You got a place to stay and some jiu-jitsu ambassadors to beat you up and give you a good welcoming,
Hell yeah. So that was something I wanted to ask you about, John. With what you're starting on the base, I do kind of a similar thing out here in Germany. How did you get started? I guess kind of moving towards teaching on the military base out there. How long have you been out there? Has it been just kind of a work in progress, or did you show up and were like, "Look, I want to teach you"?
So the past 2 years, I've come into like a turning point in my life, and on Guam, we actually now have 2 programs for jiu-jitsu on Anderson Air Force Base, which is like the north side of town on the island, and then the Navy base, which is on the south side of town. That's the last MWR program. And then we have 2 locations off military installations within the local community. We have one in the Harmon Industrial Park, which is central, a little bit north central, and then our headquarters, which is in the capital, Ganya. Beautiful, overlooking the beach, the bay.
Can't go wrong.
Yeah, can't go wrong. And then, so I was like, man, I just had an epiphany when I was back on Guam. I was like, I love serving our country. I'm in the military as well. I'm a first lieutenant, military police officer. I was here at Fort Bliss 2015. I was first in charge of what we call Special Reaction Team. That's just the military's version of SWAT. That just makes us feel special, because we don't have any sapper tabs or ranger tabs for RMOS, so we get a Special Reaction Team. But I mean, it was a good gig. I got embedded in the local community with the jiu-jitsu here. I met James Hoffman. I trained at pretty much every jiu-jitsu entity here, minus a few, but I've trained at El Paso Alliance here, 10th Planet. I've trained at Bushido MMA. I've trained at Gracie, the Joker Jiu-Jitsu competition team. And I just realized that this is a prime community to mold the future through jiu-jitsu, make the community better through jiu-jitsu. And how can I do that with my job? Man, we started an MWR program on Guam. Why can't I replicate that here? So on Guam, I built a packet. And when I got back to El Paso from leave, I went to the sports director and I was like, I wanted a meet and greet. And I gave him a packet. I was like, this is what I have these services I can give you. I'll provide you these services, and it's kind of like supporting our troops, hence, support our troops. I know I support our troops. I support them through jiu-jitsu, and man, they loved it. They bought it. So I'm working with Sean Lewis. He's a sports director for Fort Bliss, but I'm actually working more with one of his colleagues, Tia Mack. So she works with the Sports and Aquatics Fitness Center programs. She's spearheading the efforts for me, and man, they're giving me a phenomenal opportunity here, not just for jiu-jitsu, but for the Fort Bliss community, the El Paso community, and then putting, Guam on the map through jiu-jitsu. And I think that my life's purpose is going towards that lane. I'm getting out of the military, and I think my purpose right now is to serve others and, mold the future of El Paso through jiu-jitsu. Because I mean, if you don't know this, El Paso's bully rates are off the chart compared to nationwide. So like nationwide statistics. I'm just off the top of my head. I have a spreadsheet. I did a data analysis, but let's say the entire CONUS, 1 out of 10 students get bullied, but in El Paso, 7 out of 10 students get bullied. Right?
Wow, that's terrible.
1 out of 5 students admitted on the survey to skipping school due to bullying, right? And El Paso, 5 out of 5 students admitted to skipping school because of bullying. That's 100% rate, man. Like, oh, this kid's gonna beat me up. I'm not gonna go to school. And if you think that, and my professor Steve Roberto said this on a Budo Jake episode. If you think the schools are gonna do something about bullying, you're wrong. And it starts in the home. with the parents, and we don't invest in money, we invest in people, we invest in family. One of our slogans is the family thing. So I know a lot of kids in the local community here because I've trained at every gym, and I see the potential, man. And I really want to stand up an anti-bullying program here through jiu-jitsu and mold the future, mold the community, and that's where my 5-year goal is, but it all starts small, and it's going to start with this program and serving our service members first, because, you and I know what it's like to sacrifice, right?
Oh, yeah.
I ain't sacrificing jiu-jitsu, Brett, so.
Yeah, it's one thing. This is something I've kind of figured out over the past couple of years running this program out here. And I think what you're doing and what your plans are absolutely amazing. I pretty much only teach adults because just of time constraints and whatnot. But what you're setting out to do is absolutely amazing. So I commend you with that. That is a hell of a thing to do. Like, give yourself that
I'm not doing any kids. It's just adults, because the MWR, it's mainly for adults, 16 and above, because, anyone 16 and below in their fitness center, they don't want to have that liability.
Yeah.
Because it's military, man. Uncle Sam, safety first. We got to have your effective vest when you're running and all that stuff. But this isn't just my idea, man. This is years, and I've been training jiu-jitsu for 7 years. And the first moment I stepped on the mat, I was addicted. And I was like, this is going to be like a life passion. And I eventually fell more in love with it. And I was like, man, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. So over time of having the right mentors like Steve Shimizu, Steve Roberto, my sensei, Joshua Jerome, we call him Wu-Tang. He's a black belt. You can follow him on Instagram, Jiu-Jitsu. I've had a great foundation of mentors that believed in me since day one, and I dropped a lot for jiu-jitsu. I used to be big into basketball. I played for the Guam basketball team, and I dropped basketball and I started doing jiu-jitsu. I skipped college a lot, man. I was like a 4.0 student. I would skip classes to just go train, and then my grades started going down, and my mom's like, I want to jiu-jitsu you if you, lose your scholarship. So I was like, this has been years in the making, and I'm very blessed that God's finally giving me a door of opportunity to do it. So
that is, yeah. It's giving of yourself, like you said, military, that's what we do. We give to the community. And I think it's cool because, the way I look at it, we can't be in the military forever. I've been told, they're like, guess what? You will not be in the military forever. They're going to kick you out at some point. If you want to keep giving,
retire, or we all walk different paths.
Yeah.
But one thing I noticed, man, I love serving our country, man. There's nothing more than I love being behind a trigger, the adrenaline rush, but we were on post today. I was showing them the place where I'm gonna set up the academy, and I was like, hey, look at everyone's faces. They got soldiers walking in and out of the shop in a rush, getting their coffee, their energy drinks, because and you just look at people's faces. It was just like you said, it was monotone. They were robots. We're robots, man. And when you go to a mat, you go to jiu-jitsu, it's all smiles. You all see smiles. You might hear a little grunt because someone broke a toe over there. Some panting over here because these two guys are out of breath. But when you look at people's faces, they're living. They're not just existing. They're alive. And in the military, we sacrifice a lot. We sacrifice our time away from family, our personal time. We have to come in after 5 because a soldier got caught DUI, so we have to go, and worry about other people's problems. We sacrifice money. We have to pay money to go to these balls. It's a mandatory event, but we have to pay to be there, But one thing I realized in the military is sometimes we sacrifice our purpose in life. We sacrifice our identity. And in jiu-jitsu, it's genuine. The only thing you'll sacrifice is sweat, blood, and tears, and maybe a broken arm if you're stubborn to tap, but that's your ego talking. But I think jiu-jitsu helped me find my purpose in life, besides Jesus, but jiu-jitsu really helped me do that.
Yeah. No, I think that's an excellent way to look at it, and that's something I've, heard a lot of people talk about. with jiu-jitsu is all smiles, everybody's happy. It's where you want to be on the mat, and it makes everything better. And like the motto says on your banner behind you, there is nothing a good day of grappling can't cure.
Oh man, copyright.
Yeah.
That's the red slogan.
So, gentlemen, before we wrap up this episode, I have a question for each of you, since it's I feel jiu-jitsu is a lot about attitude. And I feel that, one of the things that we do as jiu-jitsu instructors or practitioners or something is help foster a positive environment. This has come up a few times in a couple past episodes, and even just like daily talking with people that I train with or, have trained with. If there was something you could do to kind of improve some of the, I guess, harsher attitudes in jiu-jitsu, like what would you do, or what advice would you give to a person to kind of not go towards, I guess, maybe letting the leaving the ego at the door, forgetting about that, and letting their ego come back? Is there anything you would give, like any advice you would give, or like what would you tell them?
You never know till you go. You're going to sit there and you're going to contemplate whether you should or not. But you got to try something once in your life. Like John said, it's called living. If you sit behind a TV and you watch jiu-jitsu behind a TV, you can't justify how it really feels like. And man, jiu-jitsu will help you.
That's like the American standard, right? Or if you don't talk football, you're not American. 90% of Americans can talk crap about football, but they've never thrown a football 50 yards in their entire life,
But it also, in some sense, right, there's things that you do in life to relieve the stress. And, the advice I give the people is like, man, I don't run, I don't lift weights. I said, man, try something once. You never know till you go. And you walk into the mat. The hardest thing I tell everybody is stepping on that mat. I mean, I can have the most roughest day. I've gone through some crazy times in my life, and I find myself back on the mat. The regrets I have is I don't train enough. And, there's a lot of times where I feel so trapped and so, stressed out. And I fall back to the sport, and I come back like, clean slate. I come back like, wow, my mind is clear. I can think. And for people that never tried it before, they might go to one of our tournaments and go, wow, man, I wish I could do that. We have a 70-year-old in class. We had one before, Mr. Kim. He moved back to Korea, but he was 70. He just started. We have all kinds of people that walk in there and say, I should have started this when I was younger. I'm one of them. I wish I started this when I was in my 20s, but I started jiu-jitsu when I was in my 30s, and now in my 40s. But people just need to get out of their shell, give it a go, and, make their own assessment on what they experience. I cannot explain the experience. You gotta actually feel it. It's just like watching TV. Wow, I wish I could do that. Well, go and do it. Try it. Live a little. That's what I have to say about our sport.
Very nice. Don't know until you go. I like it. I do like that.
You're talking about attitude, right, Rob? How can we make that better?
Yeah.
Or Matt, what do you say?
Attitude.
Is that your question?
Yeah. How can we improve attitude? Because I've run into a few people who need a little, maybe a hug.
There's something in the military, man. Like we can't breed attitude. Our attitude falls under character, right? How do you measure character? And you know this in the military because we're very performance oriented when we evaluate people, right? SOERs, OERs,
Yeah.
How do we measure a man's character, right? I think it comes in time and it comes with opportunity, so you can just feel you ever hear that saying, your vibe attracts your tribe?
Yeah, I have heard that.
So that hits home, man. Like, only time will tell. You can tell the fakers, and the snakers. They slowly weed themselves out because, it's not genuine. Jiu-jitsu is a very genuine art. You build genuine relationships. You can't lie. I mean, not like before when jiu-jitsu was growing, you can fake the funk, but yeah, I'm a jiu-jitsu black belt. But now you can't, man. It's genuine. You can't lie. The mat doesn't lie. Like you said, you gotta step on the mat, and it's genuine. But with character, it comes with trust. It comes with loyalty. And how do you evaluate someone's character in times of trials and tribulations? And you go through a trial every day when you step on the mat. You're fighting for your life, or working to pass your guard, and you see it in your teammates' faces, when they're struggling because you got them in a bow arrow. Yeah, they're about to go to sleep, but they're smiling in the process, or you know what I mean. And once you get to know people genuinely, you can see their character for who they are, and you can't measure a man's character in times of comfort and ease. It's through times of trials and tribulation is when you measure his ultimate character, because you never know what type of darkness lies in someone until they're given that opportunity, and that intent, and so any person is capable of doing anything, good or bad, in a certain condition, a certain time frame. I mean, in the military, that we have this clause called in the heat of the passion that a lot of people like to use with cases that I've done where like a guy beat his wife because she was cheating on him, and she's like, her face is bashed in, and so she reports him for domestic abuse, so he loses his clearance and loses his his right to bear arms, and all the firing arms he has. Us gun guys, in the military, we have gun collections. He had to, give up his stuff. He couldn't have weapons, so, and then his life was ruined because of that. He was a good guy, a great guy, man. Loved his wife, loyal to her. Just snapped, and he bit the bullet for it. So it's just like there's no way to mold. There's no way to measure it, but there's a way to breed it and mold it. And I found that formula because in the military, I learned how to deal with personalities and people. I invest in people, and the type of lifestyle that we breed, the type of curriculum, the type of culture that we breed in purebred jiu-jitsu, that's the way to address that attitude, that character issue. I mean, you won't know it when they step in that door 5 months from now, a year from now, maybe even 7 years from now. You'll see that, okay, his attitude, his heart and mind work in the right place when he stepped foot on the mat for the first time. And you can't know that until the opportunity presents itself.
Awesome.
Sorry, that was a long answer, but...
No, it was perfect. It was great. Like, I like hearing it. Like, I always look for people with with more experience than me who've seen it, who've done it, and getting that like advice is awesome. And I know I'm not the only one who needs to hear it, so that's why we put it on the podcast as well.
I mean, I don't have that much experience. I've only been doing this for 7 years, but I've been through a lot in the past 7 years, and Steve can testify. We've been through a lot. He's been through a lot. We've been through a lot together. So.
Well, you guys have done a hell of a job. And for everybody that's listening, and John and Steve, could you tell us where we can find you?
You can find me on marianasopen.com. That's my site, or you can look me up on Instagram, Marianas Open on Instagram, or this stuff.
Sorry, camera guy fell asleep. You could go ahead. Edit that part out, please.
Okay. All right, so Steve, where can we find you on? Where can we find you?
MarianasOpen.com.
MarianasOpen.com, or you can hit me up on my Instagram, Steve Shimizu.
How do you spell that for people that don't know how to spell Shimizu?
Shimizu is Shimizu, and hit me up and ask questions, whatever you want to know. If I don't know the answer, I don't know. I'll find out.
Nice.
And find the website to sign up for my program. It's www.purebredbjjep.com, and If you want to look me up on Instagram, it's I'm back. Just on the search tab, look up Ambassadors of the Art, because what we do, we emulate our lifestyle, and I believe, you know, we are ambassadors of our art. Whether it's jujitsu, whether it's weightlifting, whether it's you're a tattoo artist, whatever your art is, be an ambassador of what you emulate. Be a good depiction of what you want the world to view your art as.
Oh, one more thing. If any of you guys decide you want to do the Marianas Pro Trial, I suggest going to the website. The registration link's all there. I will put it up soon. This is history in the making, so check it out, man. www.marianasopen.com.
John, Steve, I appreciate you guys coming on the show today and giving me a little insight and maybe a little bit of breaking news for your tournament that's coming up. I'll definitely going to run with it. I'm very excited to get to post it up.
Yes.
Awesome. So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, thank you for listening to the Big Jiu-Jitsu Show. I'm Rob, and we'll catch you guys next time.